Brought to you by Penguin. The Sober Girl Society Handbook, written and read by Millie Gooch. Author note. Dear listener, though I hope this handbook can empower you to change your relationship with alcohol, it isn't and should never be a substitute for proper medical or psychological help. I'm a writer, not a doctor, a therapist, or an addiction professional, and if you believe that you might need extra help with your drinking, then please be sure to speak to your doctor or check out the resources supplied with this audiobook. Everything contained in this handbook comes from my personal experience and the experiences of those I've interviewed, but it may not be your experience. For some people, simply quitting drinking can be dangerous, and a detox of this kind should be carried out under medical supervision. Please consult your GP first before taking any of the advice from this book on breaking up with booze. Lots of love, Millie. Patricia Amelia Bowen, my beautiful granny who always said, "This too shall pass," but never got to see that it actually did. 1929 to 2017. Part 1. Breaking up with booze. Chapter 1. Gin-dependent women. Why is alcohol everywhere? Hey sister, welcome to the Sober Girl Society. I, for one, am so glad you're here. My name is Millie Gooch. Yep, my surname is also a slang word for the bit between a man's testicles and his anus. And if you want to come and say hi or share the struggle of having a near-phallic surname, then you can find me on Instagram at Millie Gooch. I use she, her pronouns. I set up SGS in 2018 to fulfill a desire to connect with like-minded women who were also embracing sobriety. Girls similar to me who didn't want to compromise on having fun and socialising, but who no longer felt alcohol was the faithful friend it once was. I wanted to create a place where women could discuss the best non-alcoholic wines, muse on the potential pitfalls of sober dating, and show the world that being alcohol-free is anything but boring. I hate to come straight out with the formalities, but before we get stuck in, I'd like us to agree to a few pledges so that we have a mutual understanding. It's common to have a complex relationship with alcohol, so I hope this helps those of you who might be approaching this book with mixed feelings or slight trepidation. I, the listener, will acknowledge that everything I am being told in this book comes from a place of love and not judgment. The author of this book has been there, done that, and got the wine-stained t-shirt to prove it. Will not worry about labels. Sober, sober-curious, alcohol-free, non-drinker, mindful drinker. It doesn't matter at this point, if ever. All I'm doing is listening to a book, learning some facts, and considering some opinions. The only label I need is my name, and SGS isn't bothered if I want to drop that either. We'll keep an open mind and acknowledge that a lot of what I am about to listen to might feel like listening to one friend trying to tell another friend that their partner is cheating on them. In fact, some parts of this book might make for uncomfortable listening, but this is good because my perceptions are being challenged and my horizons are being broadened. The truth can sometimes hurt, but then it will set me alcohol-free. We'll try to listen to as much of this audiobook as possible, even if I don't think it's relevant, because knowledge is power and perhaps it might help me to understand the world and the struggles of others a little better. I will try not to skip whilst watching Netflix, only to realise that I haven't taken anything in and then have to rewind. We'll listen to this book loudly and proudly and not hide it away. I acknowledge that breaking the stigma around sobriety is important, and listening to this book in the open, on a train or in a cafe might help to change someone else's perceptions too. Will not be afraid to jot down anything I think is important, because note-taking is welcome in this house. Will know that while this book will help me to navigate a world without alcohol, it is really all about choice. Sober Girl Society doesn't believe that alcohol empowers us, but sobriety doesn't necessarily do that for us either. It is choosing what feels genuinely right for us as individual human beings that is empowering. Whatever relationship I decide to have with alcohol once I've listened to this book is completely up to me, but at least I'll have the facts. We'll take this as my official trigger warning for the contents of this book, as some material might be difficult for me to listen to. For example, Chapter 4 includes some discussion around the topics of self-harm and suicide, and in later chapters there are mentions of sexual assault and domestic violence. Because of...
Sample complete. Ready to continue?